and hang in there. And here we go.
Hey.
Wait, hold on. We're not there. What, why?
Nope.
Oh, there we go. Okay, no, they're adding more information.
Okay, we're just going to assume here we are, Facebook Live. So welcome everyone to our Good of the Whole Wednesday morning, every Wednesday morning, 11 Eastern and 8 a.m. Pacific. We're here in our community coherence call, and you're all welcome to join us. Come on into the Zoom room. We muse into a topic, we go deeper into really getting to know each other and really coming into this place of transparency and vulnerability and sharing from a deeper space. And in doing that, we work to build community coherence, coming into resonance, and then really moving who we be to flow together down the river as individuals that are part of this one planetary body, doing our own parts in synergy and coherence and working together. So it's an important time for us to come together. And with that, I'll just say briefly, if you're listening for the first time, our vision is to create, is really to create this world where every individual feels valued, connected, and whole. And we're working on tweaking that mission so it feels really personal and alive inside of each of us who are in this community, and working toward an ethos of wholeness, a culture of wholeness, a spirit of wholeness, a heart-centered humanity that's creating cooperative communities that care for all life. And so we're in this remodeling phase of who we be to really represent who we are. And the world is in that phase as well. And we individually are in that phase. And so we're going to muse deeper into that today in our community coherence call. And we invite you to come in to the Zoom room with us. You can do that by going to connectionfielddigest.org. And if you're seeing this at another time on a replay, go ahead and still do that. Go into connectionfielddigest.org and you'll get a weekly schedule of everything that's going on in the connection field all day long, 7 days a week. There's so much programming for everyone. And I guarantee you'll find something that resonates deeply with you that you want to be a part of. So join us, but join us today. If you're watching live right now, come into the room, Zoom room. We will go off Facebook Live when we go into breakouts, which is just a few minutes away. And then we come back into a larger group again and really process more deeply. It's kind of like deepening and deepening and deepening into who we be. What is that real authentic expression of who we are as evolving species on our planet? And what's the work that we're called to do? So with that, I do want to share from that place. Thank you, Shelley, for bringing us into Facebook Live. And I'm going to turn this over to Grace to bring us into resonance with an attunement this morning. So Grace.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's the week of Valentine's, the week of love. Collectively, we're just feeling into that love, and the resonance field is all about feeling into this love. So let's begin just by closing your eyes if it's safe for you to do so. And just taking a nice deep breath in, opening up that lower abdomen. And as you exhale, just let go of any lower vibrational thoughts, anything about the past or future, and just be here in this beautiful, precious moment. And taking another deep breath in. And as you exhale, just allow the body just to feel safe in this moment. Allow those shoulders to relax and just let go. Another deep breath in, and imagine breathing in that loving energy into your personal heart. Taking this unconditional loving energy in. And feeling this beautiful golden energy circulating out of your heart into every cell of your body. And so every cell of your body feels deeply touched by this love. That you feel so lovable in this moment. That every cell of you feels lovable in this moment. Just feel your heart being deeply touched by this love. And then being able to give out this love to everyone here in this beautiful resonance field, connecting heart to heart. And imagine even connecting to people who are watching this later on, connecting to their hearts. And in this resonance, it's about being love, feeling connected to this energy field. And feeling safe connecting with each other heart here. Which calms our mind and allows the wisdom to open up in the present moment. We are collectively with others. And then let's reconnect with each other with our eyes open, our hearts open to share what wants to come forth. And so it is.
Thank you, Grace. If you don't know Grace, she is the founder of the Global Heart Team, and she's writing a book all about love, and Grace emanates love from every cell of her being. I encourage you to check out the Global Heart Team on the Good of the Whole site and get involved. Every Thursday they meet, and she does incredible meditations for the earth, for the planet, for all of us. So thank you, Grace. That was beautiful. And with that, I want to tell you two stories to bring us into our conversation today. Because we've been meeting as a leadership team and the Leadership Council and looking at what is who we be and where we're going, and looking at that. And Grace talked about just come right here, right now. And I think it's really an important piece of wisdom as Grace brings us into this present moment, that the future is created right here, right now. So we don't have to go off into the future and imagining, but there's some really important pieces to bring us home into this present moment, to really tune in and listen to that impulse of evolution, because we are co-creating the world in which we want in this moment. And it may seem like we are powerless over that. And if we go and look out there at all the things that we don't like or don't approve of, or scare us, perhaps, it does take us out of that creative force that we are, who we be in this moment. And the two stories are, one is just really brief, is yesterday, I attended a funeral of my husband's dear aunt. She's the most amazing person on the planet. Love her dearly. And she died at a young age of 73, very healthy person, and got ill and just died within weeks. And one of the things that I think it was her grandson, said to my husband and I when we were talking is that she made her husband promise not to make any changes for 2 years. And I've been thinking about that since yesterday. Like, how can you not make changes for 2 years? What does that really mean? I wonder what she meant. Changes with the farm, changes with their property in Arizona, changes with his lifestyle. What did that mean? I don't know what that meant. And I'm sure it was really well-intentioned, but it's made me think about all the change in the past 2 years in my life and more, and all the change every moment, because we are in a constant state of transformation right now, literally, individually, culturally, and planetary. Everything is in a state of change, evolution, and transformation. It's an important piece for us to really grasp and really hold in an empowered place, not in a disempowered place. And oftentimes we get really afraid when we look at the destruction everywhere. But this is a time of deconstruction, that we can consciously deconstruct and move into a creative, constructive place. So the second story that I just want to drop in to help us muse a little deeper right here is that my home is, in any standards, big enough for a family of two. My home is, by any standards, big enough for a family of two. And when all my kids and now my grandkids, like my family over the last couple of years, went from a family of 8 to a family of 13, and they're growing. And during the holidays, when all of my siblings come over, or my husband's siblings come over, we used to manage that in our home very easily. We could sit 16 in my kitchen dining room that are all one big room. And yet now the next generation are having babies, and the family's growing. And so to put everyone in this space is getting a little cramped. And so we're dreaming into today, by listening to who we be today, we're dreaming into a simple, easy, not extravagant remodeling plan, but literally a remodeling of how can we open up the kitchen into the garage, and then it will be an extension of the entertaining space of the kitchen and the dining room and the living room all in one, and we'll be able to sit more in this space. And I use that example for us to really deepen into who we be as a conscious species right here. Who we be as a species moving out of the industrial era into a sustaining future, a regenerative future of cooperative communities that care for all of life. It's time to remodel our own individual lives to step into this new role. And it's time to remodel the world around us, our own families, home, work space, communities, community organizations. It's really time for this upgrade. It's time for that remodeling. And I'm thinking of John Brockett because he is a remodeler by trade. And I always remember the moment that he and I were talking. It was like, yes, you're here to help remodel humanity right now on the planet. It's time to help remodel our social systems and structures so they better fit us, so they really represent who we are as conscious beings of light, as heart-centered, like Grace talks about, of really coming into our heart and living from that place. It's time to remodel everything. It's time to reimagine everything. So we're going to go into small groups today. And I really encourage all of us as individuals to bring our deepest desires, our greatest dreams forward in our small groups. That I wrote down a phrase: we don't know what's coming, but we can help to shape what's ahead by being fully present right here, right now, and listening to that impulse of evolution. So we may not know what's coming, but we have a vital and crucial role in helping to shape what's ahead by us coming into that remodeling phase, that deconstruction and reconstruction, reimagining and rebuilding and remodeling. Just what's ours right here, right now. So as we go into small groups, I don't have a specific question for you, like what is, or muse on that, but what, I guess, what is moving through you that you want to bring forward as your work in the world, as your passion that represents who you are as part of this community, that as we continue to evolve and remodel who good of the whole is, and perhaps there's so much more, we know there's so much more to good of the whole than if you just come into the connection field, you don't even know that we have this grand dream of building homes in Hawaii this next year and then around the world. Like there's so many other pieces to who we be as a community, but let's pull the threads of who you be in this community so we can create a collective vision of our future and really help support and amplify who we all are as individuals. That might tap into your work, your vision, your dream. You might not have that goal. You might not see yourself as an evolutionary, but your threads matter for those who can pick them up and pull them through. So everyone's voice matters in this process. What's your vision? What do you see? What do you value? What is important to you? How can we create this world around each of us that really fits who we be today and as we move into the future? So is that really clear? There's a little few nods. Yeah. Okay. I think it's a really great topic for us. And I just want to, before we go off Facebook Live, encourage you, if you're listening to this now, watch for notifications in that digest, connectionfielddigest.org. We're going to host a warming, yummy community time in the coming weeks where we can dream into this together and really share a vision and really get behind the dream and the vision together and work in synergy and coherence as a community to really look at what's important to us and how do we remodel and rebuild together. So watch for the digest for coming weeks. We haven't set that date yet, but on a Wednesday, we'd love to share more about others who are dreaming big. Our community member, Glenn Head, who usually doesn't join us here because it's very, very early in Kauai, but he says, go bold, go big, go bold. And last week he said, go big, go bold, and go better. And then he said, I don't know which order to put those in, but we're about going bold. So let's dream big. So with that, we are going to go off Facebook Live. Thanks for watching. Come into the connection field if you want to join us. We'll watch for your late entrance and try to get you into a group. And I am going to switch. So Shelley, I could see how many people are here and how many groups to put us in.
There are 5 groups with 3 to 4 people.
Okay, we're going to go into 5 groups then. Awesome. Welcome all of you who joined late. It's good to see you here. And we are going to break into groups for about 20 minutes and then come back into the bigger group. Reset that resonance just with a breath or a word or a moment, and then dig into this yummy conversation. We'll see you back here in 20 or 25 minutes. You know, we always go longer than 20. There you go. And I will watch for latecomers.
Julie.
Yes.
I was gonna move people. Okay, I thought I was doing it. All right.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, you can, yeah.
Well, now we have like two people in Rose and Tony and David. I guess put me in.
Yeah. I moved Tony up there, so there's 3 now.
Yeah, but okay.
And it looks like
Yeah,
Susan and Alberto are not in a room yet, so we can. Do you want to go into room 4? Or
okay, room 4. Yeah.
do you have a way to watch this when you go into a room?
Yeah, you can watch the whole thing.
You can see if someone new comes in. Just leave this breakout room in progress open. Okay, do you want to help me watch it? And I'll watch it and I'll go jump in a room. Which room are you going to jump into?
4, I guess, like you said.
4? Okay, I'll jump into 5.
I'll claim. Let's see. I'll just be right.
You know, the island is supposed to mark the
Who shows?
crossing.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, guys.
Good
Yeah,
morning
we're
or good
having a
afternoon.
gathering of virgins here. We've got Ia and the Virgin Islands and Susan in Virginia. So I just figured I could just be a virgin. So
Oh, I like that. I can too then?
no, you've got extended family. Can no, we're not gonna.
That's true. That's true. It doesn't work anymore, does it? Okay, I got to get in a room. Hang on a second. Sorry, guys.
Well, I was wondering if we drew a line, because on Google Maps, it's really cool. You can pick out multiple locations and it'll do it'll show the whole earth and how they connect. I'm just wondering if we did Virgin Islands, Virginia, Nebraska, might dip down
not-
over
Yeah,
Arizona.
not that interesting. Not that interesting.
Oh,
Okay. So yeah,
There's so
I
much in the
had
head.
a little thing with when you said your husband's aunt was 73 when she passed, and my mom was 73 when she passed, and I went, yeah, that is young.
It's young now, isn't it? It's young now.
Yeah, well, it's only 3 years younger than me, so.
I'm the oldest child on the block. I've always been the oldest in the family, oldest in the community, oldest. Yeah.
So,
It's
Ia, what
wonderful.
can your wisdom teach us today?
Yeah, there's a good question.
I don't know. What can you guys teach? Well, one of the things, we always want to jump. And hopefully everybody here has embodied the vision within. The vision comes from within, and we always want to go outside. The vision begins with what needs to happen here. And what I found in this time as we question this forward movement in our humanity, because it's more than just where am I going in my community, it's a whole humanity. It's a movement of humanity. And it's coming out of a place that it has had an evolution of experience in many, many lifetimes. If it can remember the many, many lifetimes, somehow know that the shaping of where we are came through many lifetimes. Those things that we're aware of and non-aware of have influenced our life and continues to impact our life. Even in this lifetime, we have had many experiences that have shaped us to get us where we are. So we can ask the question about clearance. If the clearance has to start here in order for us to have clear vision, what's in the way of that clear vision? What's in the way stands in the way of us vision this holistic or this whole global community coming together and weaving itself into into a whole web? And I think that's the question, because like I say, a lot of times we don't want to clean up the debris, we want to get right to it. And if you're a farmer, if you come from a farming country, a farming family, the first thing you do in this season where we are right now is we clear the we clear the land, we clear the debris, we clear everything to get to become ready to put our seeds in the ground. So what seed am I putting in the ground to go forward? Because I'm planting a seed, and all of us together meet here in this web. You know, we meet here. So it's how do we, I think, stepping out our own ego, our own competition, our own us and them. It's like coming now. Do we have enough of what we need to bring this seed here to the center? Each one of us. So that's basically my question, and constantly to myself and to my community, to anyone I'm talking to, because it's an anxious time, and we want, it's not easy, because we birthing, we coming in, it's like this, you know, and some of us are very clear, but it's a lot of work that has to be done. There's a lot of energy to be given and clarity, you know.
Yeah, when I'm listening to you, thank you. Were you complete?
Yes, I'm complete. I'm just,
Yeah, it felt like you were complete. So I'm sorry if I interrupted.
No, you didn't. I use this just.
I think that this is an important element of the evolution that we're not talking about, is the clearing. And you often talk about the healing and the forgiveness and the past. And when you were saying that about, if we can remember the many, many lifetimes, we'll remember our next best steps right here, right now. And I often tune into that knowing, and there's a comfort and a calm there. But so thank you for adding that. I don't want to take much time with feedback for you, because I think we all need to talk. But the piece that I hear is, perhaps we need a cleanup crew in good of the whole. Perhaps we need to literally identify the cleanup crew, because we are in a place. My aunt was a farmer, and she thought like a farmer. And so when you're talking about clearing the fields of the debris and cultivating that soil so that literally it can receive the new seed, it's an important piece. So thank you. I'm making a mental note of what would a cleanup crew, I don't know if that's what the name would be, but that energy and good of the whole, that we could work on some mutual projects to support one another in that place, and really tap into the expertise and the wisdom of those who understand that function. So thank you, Iya. I'm thrilled about that.
Thank you.
So I will follow that by saying I'm a certified leaf clearing coach. And
Certified what, coach?
leaf clearing.
Leaf clearing.
Right. So
Oh, that's cute.
what beliefs are really holding us back, what's in that way. It's going to be hard, it's tough out there. We can't make it. All of the beliefs that seem obvious, and yet there are subtle beliefs that are transparent to our consciousness that are inhibiting as well. And one of the things that I was working on was doing it as a group clearing process. And Susan was part of our group where we did some of that belief clearing with. So that's a possibility that we could do, like a session of belief clearing with the group. Anyway, just thinking out loud mostly at the moment. The deepest heart's desire, I feel strongly as a pulse, and the pulsation is communication. And the other part of the clearing is that the one thing I became aware of with the belief clearing is that you can get very involved with clearing. And, you can clean your field with a fine-tooth comb before anything gets planted too. And so there's a balance in that, in the knowing that there is that which wants to emerge, and to give that the attention. And so since we started being virgins this morning, one of the things I'm a virgin at is giving birth, since ovarian cancer prevented that for me for this lifetime. Um, and really feeling into what is that experience that feels to me is still calling me forth, that giving birth on this new level, this new humanity. What is it to feel that sense of, there's this new life coming forth, and I don't know how to do it. Whoa, wait a minute, couldn't somebody else do it? Whoa. And feeling like it's over my head, overwhelming, overpowering. Somehow I'm not up to the task, and still feeling called forth in it, like having to be born a mother at the same moment of giving birth. Like a mother isn't born until that baby emerges, right? Otherwise, she's a mother to be, and only born a mother when that baby is born. And that's what this feels like, that what we call Mother Earth, it's really the baby being born as we are the mother of that life form coming into existence and being born. Born, B-O-R-N-E, born, carried in a current of new life force that I feel is a universal life force emerging within us, emerging through us, and wanting to give it voice, give it impetus, give it credence. So that clearing has somewhere that it's going. It's has that impetus beyond just clearing alone, if that makes sense. All right.
Susan, do you want to jump in?
I was going to ask, yeah, because that wasn't your talk before. You were just commenting to.
Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah,
Are you sure?
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've been remodeling and I've been clearing. I did believe, oh, my dogs love you guys. They're all over me. This one dog that, I don't know, I hate to say that, but she was crawling up my back. So I had to deal with that. I think, well, see, that's part of the field. Attracting positivity, attracting the future to ourselves, radiating the love we are. We are love. I mean, I'm love. I'm here to be love. Everything else will follow. And even the animals sense that, you know. Grace doing her attunement. Both my dogs were all over me. You know, as soon as I heard Grace start speaking. When you just spoke, Julie, you know, and they know Oriana because they've heard Oriana do transmissions. So, so there's an energy, and they heard Ia. I mean, they're my family. I didn't give birth in this lifetime, but I watched the dog be born that's sitting here right next to me, and so what do we want to attract and what do we want to put out? And I just went through a 6-week course that is really a course for a lifetime, Life Mastery Achievers, on how to really clear those beliefs, set a clear vision, and then feel where you want to be. Like Oriana says, we might not know how we're going to get from step A to B, from seed, you know, from acorn to oak, but I'm going to be an oak, or the caterpillar. I'm going to be a butterfly. What does the butterfly or the oak tree say to the acorn or the caterpillar? And how does the butterfly feel? And that will help. Like, we had to do a clear vision. And that was the hardest part. I was pretty good with the first couple of weeks clearing beliefs, writing a new rule book. How will I feel? But then we had to write a letter from our future self. Oh, so hard. And you do Facebook live stream for the group. And but once I did that, You know, you pick a day in the future, you find the year of the week, you know, you pick a day and you tell what you're living that day and you write it back to yourself. And once I had set a vision like that, something I'd never really done, after I had cleaned the debris, you know, because you constantly have to clean the debris because every day is day one. So you got to constantly, things might come up, you know. I really felt a sense of direction. And now I'm moving into taking action. And that was something, I'm almost 60, 58. My whole life, I've motivated, I've achieved, I got degrees, but I was always kind of following what other people thought was good for my heart. And I never really had a clear vision except, well, then I'll go to college, I'll be a scientist, I'll cure cancer, I'll retire. Well, that is not how my life turned out. I mean, I was a scientist. I got a PhD, I have a teaching license, I have multiple degrees and certificates, but I had no idea where I was going. And I did, because it's not just about the money, you know, it's about purpose. And I just, even a really good exercise, if you develop a group, you know, you do belief clearing, maybe it could be over a month or something, you know, clear those beliefs, set a new rule book. What's your future vision? How to communicate with people, how to attract what you want. You know, we're, you know, writing a letter from your future self, even Julie, like with your house, write a, you know, do a little Facebook live stream or something about what your house will look like and how it'll feel when all your family's there, and how will you feel and what will it be like and how great will it be. And lo and behold, you'll pull the future, your future self will pull you to the future, like Oriana speaks of all the time. Oriana will speak of that, and I'm like, how do you do that? Because I don't know how. What am I supposed to do? That's what was always running through my head. I don't do that anymore. If I say, why can't I do this? Why can't I create? I say, what is the best way to create this? Ask a better question. Don't ask a negative question. And now I totally understand what Oriana is talking about. But I had to put myself into action, and I really had to dive deep. And so I feel it's so important. And I'm like just a seed, but I have a vision of where I want to go, and I want to co-create with other people. I'm tired of doing this alone thing. It doesn't even feel right. And as long as I can be love and admit the feelings I want, well, everybody loves love. I'll attract other beings that like love, that want to co-create. Maybe not everyone will want to co-create, but you don't need a whole bunch of people. You know, a pod, 3-4 people. So really great to have a clear vision of where we want to be, and make a little, do a live video and watch it back to yourself about your future self and what your visions are. And it's incredible how you start to step into your own future in a way you want to, with some direction. So that's what I've learned. That was part of my debris clearing. And you know, how Ia spoke of bringing all the lifetimes together. It's really interesting. Charlie Riverman, well, he's doing the Japamala, but he was talking, I don't know if it's an oracle card or what, but this lifetime is a culminating lifetime of all our previous lifetimes. Right now, the lifetime we're in, and it's bringing together all these different threads of all our different lives, and we can assimilate all those different lives into what we are now. So we're not just limited by this incarnation. Even if you don't know what your previous lives are, I've tapped into a couple, but I certainly have energy, I feel, from previous lives. You know, I'm an old soul. So I'm sure, Oriana, I didn't have children this lifetime. You didn't, but I'm sure you and I were mothers somewhere. I know I was a mother because I'm way too mothering to have never been a mother. And we're birthing the new world. We're birthing evolution, you know, like there I see Barbara Marx Hubbard again, clapping her hands. I swear she just pops into my head sometimes out of the blue. You know how she clap her hands and she's really happy? Like I just see it, like it's a vision. And she's cheering us on, you know, she's cheering us on. You know, pretty soon it'll be a couple years since she passed away, but like, I feel like she's more alive than ever. If, you know, maybe that's part of the reason she crossed when she did. She's like, oh, I can help from over here. It's beautiful. This is great. She's still doing the work. And our ancestors are with us. That's something else that's really become palpable. They're here. They hear us. Even the beings not born yet are here. Everything is here. So when you know they got your back, we're working as a huge collective right now. And I think we got to, that's why it's so important to clear why we're doing all these healings from the past 7 generations and the future 7. And I just did this rebirthing ceremony, re-emerging with Joan Henry and her group. It was on Sunday where everyone was taken in Chief Hill Lane. It was just an amazing, you can go check out the replay. I can find the link and send it to Good of the Whole or ask Joan to, where everyone was rebirthed. And it was a shamanic experience. I was not prepared, but we're going through that right now, and it rebirthed the whole universe. And I feel it reset the fractal hologram to a higher level, to a new pattern, the time pulse. The time crystal set out a new pulse, and so there's
Not quite how it works.
Yeah, I mean, there's a shift. Something's happened, and I feel something different in me that I know I can get called to action. And so this is my year of creation, but I'm still just like a little seed. I'm a little seed in the earth. I'm starting to get some water. I certainly haven't sprouted yet. Oh, we got 2 minutes. Julie, I'm gonna stop. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you talk.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. All right,
The exciting thing, I would share personally, but the exciting thing that I hear, especially with Ia and Oriana's, your readiness to teach, is that literally we're we have a new platform and a new website that's ready to do education. It's an education platform. And what I heard, we've fashioned that for member benefits, to get all this education, and for people to take courses and workshops and like to pay for those. But as you were talking, I'm seeing this really important level of all the free education for anyone, that as a nonprofit, we can hold this library, this archives of these important conversations and classes and workshops that literally are free to anyone, that we become a part of that awareness on the planet, that anyone can tap into some of these things of clearing beliefs, cleaning up the field and cultivating. So that piece is exciting to me. And I have all of my own personal pieces that when I think about the remodeling and the pieces that I want to bring in, I don't think it's that important in this moment to quickly try to share it in 60 seconds, but just to thank you guys for this conversation. There's our timer of our 20 minutes. Turn that off so it doesn't bother us. But yeah, just thank you for being on this journey with we, not me, with we. Thank you for bringing your wisdom in. Thank you for bringing your vision in. And thank you for allowing that to expand in this community so that it expands in the world. There's some exciting things that we all can work on when we work together. So I'm just really excited about that. Yeah. We have 26 seconds. So we'll finish in the larger group because I can't say enough.
Really, like Humanities Team, they offer tons of free access courses, but then you can go in and you can buy courses too.
Yeah.
So you can, feel your way, what works, what doesn't work, what do I like? Right now I'm doing a Course in Miracles. I didn't know it's 365 lessons. Anyway.
What is the best way to get in touch with you?
I'll give you my phone number.
Okay, let me write it down.
Everyone get a pencil. Here comes Martin's phone number.
Go ahead. Let's
But
have
Let's
it.
also,
sell it, Martin. We're gonna sell it.
You can put it privately in the chat as
No,
well.
it's fine. You all need to know this at some point. We're getting to that point, right?
Ooh,
470.
we've moved past dating into a steady relationship. I hear it. I feel it.
You can put it in the chat, Martin.
Okay.
There you go. Anyone want Martin's phone number? Look in the chat. If you want mine, ask. I'll give it to you too. Well, welcome back to our big group. Thank you, Martin. I think that's a really, the spirit of that generosity of offering your phone number and really acknowledging we're at that point. It's like, here we be. We're not just a tribe, or, you know, that we really do have that faith in each other, that trust in each other. And it's a good place to open up this conversation in our small groups, is who we be and what we're creating from this moment of really deep listening to that IntelliKey, that impulse of evolution, that coding that's already within us. And what Ia had said in our small group is that remembering the lifetimes that we've already had, is remembering all the lifetimes that are coming forward, brings us into this moment. So I'm just going to open this up for our sharing. Who feel free to unmute yourself and bring in what feels really relevant as the impulse is moving through you in this moment. Who wants to start the sharing? And welcome.
Okay, I will.
Okay, Shell.
I was going to wait for Connie or Grace to jump in because we were like a bubbling, brewing heart explosion. It was amazing. What ended up happening was I realized through just like 2 minutes of connection with Connie that I am living on her grandfather's land, right next to it, the land preservation. And that the woman who is the owner of this land has literally bought her grandfather's house last year so that she could make sure the land was kept with that and that it wasn't sold off and developed. And so it was this evolution of, you said the word trust, but what we all realized, and Connie having an experience of the future and her relationship with the indigenous people here where I'm living, and everything she's bringing through, and then Grace having her bubble of future vision, downloading that information, and there was this wave of, you know, greater connection, interconnectivity, everything that you were just describing, Julie. And really what we came to was, you know, what is it that it takes to remodel is simply to listen and to act on that, what we hear. And then the universe just in reciprocity, ultimately, you know, how is it that I landed in this room with Connie, you know, and had this whole experience and was able to tell her this experience of living on her grandfather's land and the consciousness in which he gave this land to the state of Maine. So I just think that's what I want to bring forth. And Connie, I don't know, Grace, if you want to bubble in, but it, you know, that to me, that's the remodeling, is really just being a part of that, resting in that resonant field, in that super, it's really a super, it's being a super organism, being a super alignment with nature's design and really feeling that within your own body and trusting it.
I'll jump in real quick. Thank you, Shelley, for sharing that about the land. That's powerful. And Julie, when you mentioned that your great aunt said, don't do anything for 2 years, I was struck when we got into the small group that exactly 2 years ago, I got the vision for Peaceful Ethos while I was staying at a sustainable living community in Georgia. And I had that vision when I visited a town called Darien, Georgia. And just to know that even though at the time it didn't work out in a very kind of catastrophic way, that those dreams can still be alive. That place is the second largest river mouth in the country, the Altamaha River. It's very healing there. And here's a picture. So I made my business cards on Valentine's Day 2 years ago, and maybe it's time to revisit that exciting vision that I had. So thank you for being here with me.
I just want to add something to what Heather said about the 2 years, because, you know, we're coming up on the year here, you know, March 16th, the year of Corona, the year of great remodeling, great destruction remodeling. And, you know, we just kind of came through the 9-month stage. I feel like something's definitely been birthed, you know, starting with what happened in early January, 7 days of rest and healing and just everything that's going on. And now we're moving into our 2nd year. So that's what I wanted to put out there. Now we can, you know, take our action and move forward in trust. I really like that, you know, Martin put his phone number up. I wrote it down because I do trust everyone here. And that's an incredible, we have to be, if we're going to become a coherent organism, if we're going to become a heart of many cells, of many human cells, we have to learn to work in unison and in trust that every cell is doing what it needs to do to function. So, you know, we got the basis. We got the basis. That's all I have to say. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thanks, Susan. So I'll pop in with that in our small group, Linda, Julie Down, and myself. And when we speak of remodeling, you know, we're taking an existing structure and giving thanks for that structure, and yet allowing it to dissolve in order to come into what is emerging, unfolding, being offered to us through the unified resonant field. And what Julie Downs said, which I think is very important, is that look around this screen and we have 20 consciously aware people that are attempting to come up with a new language. Don Pett, I know you're going to love this. And if we continue to use the old language, now when I say old language, I don't necessarily mean only words, but what Julie Down's point is that if we're going to be a coherent, cohesive whole, then what is the message that goes out that the larger population can get, so that they can see that it's going to be safe to allow the old structure that they're operating under to dissolve, and have the courage to come in and, just like we're saying, 20 of us could give them our number and say, we're open. This is an open channel. It is a way to come into a new way of being. And yet, if we talk in language that is above and not from our ego place, but not understandable by the larger population, then not everyone is going to be able to come into the stream. And so I feel like part of the remodeling is to, for each one of us, to bring our gift and talent to how our individual structure that we're having the courage to let go of relates to someone out there that is on that line of being desiring, willing to let go of the current structure which has been used, because deep inside they already know that there's something evolving and they want to be part of that. So I think our remodeling is, how do we do that together, and how do we reach the larger audience? I'll complete.
I'd like to follow that, John. In our group, we were speaking to clearing, and Ia had brought up the need to clear the field before it's planted. And I was feeling into being a belief clearing coach, and one of the courses that I have, it's a $300 course, but I'm feeling this sense of offering that as a group process just for this good of the whole. If there are others that might be interested in going through, it's an 8-week process of clearing beliefs, but doing it from the perspective of not just our personal beliefs that might get in the way of our making progress in our life, but those beliefs that may be within our culture, within our society, within humanity, that can be cleared at that level. And so just a thought that just came to me of something to offer and see what might unfold from that. There you have it. And there would be no charge for the good of the whole people. And so we'll see how and what that opens to. There we go.
In our group, we talked a lot about helping to inspire people to be their best selves. As David put it, not being a lighthouse, being an inspiration. And I think that's really good work. And the best part about it is you only get to keep what you give away. So the more they inspire others, the more they inspire you. It's a wonderful little feedback loop of synergy, and we go onward.
I love that. I just want to follow through with this from Oriana to Tony just in a moment. And what Ia was bringing up, I was with Oriana in our group and Susan and Ia. And if we're going to remodel, we need the cleanup crew, right, John? Like someone's got to be there for the deconstruction to clear out the debris. And I invite you to speak more of that. But as Oriana brought that through, and then Tony in sharing, and we get to keep what we give away, is that literally we have a brand new platform that's going to make education so much easier. And there's a plethora of resources right here that we can give freely to the world. Like, how do we give this education away freely? And then there are those that we're going to spend a little bit more and go in deeper and have, pay for a course or a workshop or a 9-month journey, whatever that is. But it's just exciting to think of harvesting the wisdom that's right here and giving that freely to the world, changing our beliefs, creating the new language. Like, all of these pieces are really important, and we are steeped in it every week. We come into the connection field, we come into resonance, and we're learning and we're growing, and we're literally, I just think of this tea bag steeped in it right now, and it's really sweet. So here we be with the opportunity to give that freely to the world in different ways. So I'm excited to really, we've been giving freely for 8 years in Good of the Whole, and there's no one that takes any money or funds from Good of the Whole. So if you're paying a membership, someone asks, where does the money go to? We're not paying anyone at this point, and we need to move out of that place of all volunteer. We're going to ask for more volunteers to do other functions. We need a volunteer to do the education. Who wants to be the primary education steward that can literally oversee the education piece? Because we're moving toward a new model of how do we literally create a regenerative model. So this is a business, but how do we keep giving it away? How can we keep giving it away for free? Because that's the new world. Everyone should have access to this. I'm like fired up today. Everyone should have access to this. You don't have to be affluent to take part in shifting the consciousness on the planet and getting your needs met, getting nurtured, getting nourished. and being able to be a healthy cell in the one planetary body. So what is the business model that we can give this away freely to everyone and anyone that tunes in? And all of you are a part of that, like you sharing your wisdom and sharing that forward and carrying that out into the world, and doing it with resonance, coherence, and wholeness. Because if we don't deliver it with resonance and create greater coherence, we won't hear it. There's too much noise in the world right now. And especially as we're deconstructing and remodeling, the hammers are pounding, the saws are going, the drills are going. It's like there's a lot of noise as we're remodeling the world. So how do we continue to really share this plethora, this wealth of information and beautiful new awareness and consciousness in a noisy world with coherence and resonance, and adhering to that peaceful culture of wholeness that we all subscribe to. So thank you. I just had to drop that in. I'm really fired up and excited about that. And we still have a good 10 minutes here if anybody else wants to jump in here and share from anything that's moving in this moment. I'm complete.
Julie, as you were speaking, I was thinking the debris, and I think the other part in sitting in the looking at good of the whole and that platform is learning how we can become co-creators. I just completed a 13 weeks program in co-creation. There are principles, universal principles, utilizing universal principles through an initiatory model in teaching us how to be co-creators in the world. Because we utilize these, we talk of these languages, but do we know how to be co-creators? And what does that feel like to be co-creators? Because we co-creating not from our own ego, we're learning how to tap into that universal way of tuning into the universal creation. And then we learn how to come here and be the co-creators in this field here as well. So that's, and that's one of the things, I'm looking at, how do we give voices to a lot of what we talk to and also activate that in our practice? And how do we co-creators? What is co-creation? How does it feel to be co-creators? That is one thing that we could share on a larger field, is talking about co-creation. How do we become the co-creators for the planet? So after the debris, you got to create, right? So the cleanup crew, I don't know who wants to be, I don't know that I'm a good cleanup person, because they just send me home when I didn't work too well in the field. My grandfather said I was no good. So he said, well, he said, she no good here, let her go home and cook. And I'm like, and that was supposed to be a downplay of small, it wasn't important to go home and be a cook. To me, it was fine. I love it. Thank you. I can cook for all of y'all. I don't need to be in the field. So I wouldn't be a good cleanup crew, as I said.
Good morning, everyone. I love what you're saying, Ia. I got sidetracked when you talked about cooking and getting out of the field, but you were asking about how do we become co-creators. And I just wanted to drop this little quick story in that, was it 7 or 8 years ago at Birth 2012? After many of us were aligning with Barbara Marx Hubbard and birthing the new humanity and who are we and how do we co-create together. And there were about 6 people who, and I was one of them, who was trying to figure out how to start the co-creators convergence. And it was hysterical that we were all trying so hard to co-create. Nobody's at the head of it, no, and our egos were in the way, and we were really trying to understand what it means to co-create. And I think it's a journey, a personal journey of continuing to surrender your ego. It's not about me. It's about the we. It's not about me. It's about we. And yet the me part has to know who me is in order to fit into the we. So again, there's this both and, that we're learning how to be our true authentic self in the world, to love ourselves, to not have conflict with ourself anymore and have those self-doubts. We are learning that. We're in that field. And then we are in also that field of the we, where we understand we're all going through at different stages and times and levels. We're all going through that. And look, there's a little kitty in Rose's room to confirm that. Sweet kitty. So yeah, trying to learn how to be a co-creator is something where you must have the perspective of what is for the greater good. What am I doing that's really contributing, that's being a part of the solution to whatever problem there is in the world right now. And we're doing it. I just want to keep, I'm hugging you all because we are doing it. Thank you for the 1111, Martin. For me, that's the time to say, I love you. So there it is. And I'll be complete. Let's just pat each other on the back and pat ourselves on the back that we're going through that messy birthing of a new humanity, of a new way of being, of the deconstruction, of the reconstruction. And sometimes it's messy, but if we can just laugh like little kids playing in a mud puddle, it's dirty and it's messy, and let's have fun with it. That's the feeling I'm bringing in. My bold jump into the future. The end. No, the beginning. I'm perpetually incomplete.
Can I just add to that? Aren't we already co-creating with the divine this reality? Aren't we actually creating this reality with what we think? So there's two levels of co-creation, because it's automatic, because it's vibration, it's frequency, it's observer effect. And the sooner we understand that part, that collectively we've created this reality by believing in it and believing in the systems and thinking it's true and real. And then there's the individual co-creation of us working together that everyone's speaking of, and both Ia and Linda spoke to so well. And so just wanted to throw that into the mix, and love co-creating with every one of you. Thank you.
I'm going to jump in here. I see a couple more people like unmuting that wants to speak, and we'll be here for a while, so it's okay. We'll be in the resonance lounge, but I do want to follow up on that because we're recreating the language and we're creating a glossary of terms, and we use terms that sometimes is new and we're not hearing it. So Connie, I thank you for bringing that in, because I want to put with an exclamation point the definition of co-creation and how we use this in good of the whole, how we have in the past, because our dear friends and mentors, Catherine Roski and Carolyn Anderson, wrote the Co-Creators Handbook, and they worked with Barbara Marx Hubbard for decades. And Barbara Marx Hubbard used the term co-creation. And I really want to have that feel embodied in us, because co-creation doesn't mean cooperate and collaborate and work together on a project with people and committees. That co-creation is indeed, according to Catherine and Carolyn and Barbara and others, is a really important term that Connie mentioned, is that we come into resonance and coherence together by attuning to the divine intelligence and attuning to that universal guidance, that universal intelligence. And when we all come together by attuning to the field, like you hear us say here, so here's more of the glossary of terms. When we attune to this unified field of intelligence, the unified field of consciousness, when I do that and you do that and we come together, then we begin to co-create. That's the definition of co-creation that we use here in this community, because it's not just collaborating and cooperating and coming into synergy together. It really is the process of aligning with that designing intelligence together, and then allowing that to inform our collective, collaborative, cooperative work together. But it's that process and that voice and that impulse and that design, that's the blueprint for the remodel. So when we co-create, the blueprint's here coming through each of us, and then we come into collective intelligence together around that designing impulse. So there's those two. This is another language thing that I think it's really important for us to pay attention to, that collective intelligence is not necessarily the unified field. We come into that unified field and we learn how to listen, and that, where does that come through? Our hearts. But we come into that unified field of intelligence together, and then we begin to come into our collective intelligence. We process together, and what's coming through each of us, we learn, because there's a truth that comes through each of us uniquely. So we learn, and where are the synergies then? What's happening? And how are we firing off different elements of who we be as one planetary body? So thank you for that. I think it's important. We'll use this time every Wednesday to really help us flush out the language, so we all come into an understanding of our evolutionary purpose as a piece of that language. I think that's a really important piece. So I did see a couple more people unmute, and I just want to say it's 17 after now. Thanks for the 11:11, Martin. And we will roll this into the Resonance Lounge. So don't hop off really quick. If there are a few more people that wanted to speak, and then John, when there's a silence, we'll turn that back over to John to kind of reset the resonance and continue processing in this community. But I know there were a few more people that wanted to speak, so let's give them some space.
Hey, Julie, really quick, I might need to go. So I just want to request John to record what you're, and send it to the cloud, because there's a lot moving here in regards to this remodeling conversation and co-creation. Thanks.
And I do have it on record, so I'll keep it on record as long as we need to. So awesome. But you can give John the host after this. Anyone else feel compelled to jump in at this moment? I did see a few more people coming off mute. I want to give you space.
I can wait till the next, maybe I'll hop in when we switch over, because it is kind of late, I guess, for this meeting. But maybe I'll pick up. Maybe we'll just make one quick comment, if I might. Little story. First of all, yeah, you can cook for me anytime. I'd be happy. You're already cooking what you just said before. But you know the myth of Hercules. Hercules killed his family, and he wanted to atone for that when he realized what a horrible thing he had done. And he went to one of the wise men, and he was given the task. The task was to clear out the Aesculapian stables. That was very important in those times, the Aesculapian stables. And being Hercules, he figured out a way to do it. He diverted one of the streams, and he cleaned out all the horse shit from the Herculean stables. So now it got rid of all the bad stuff. But the point is, it was still empty. It wasn't able to be used for anything if you just remove the bad stuff. So just remind you that Buckminster Fuller told us that sometimes it's not getting rid of what's there. Sometimes we just have to go ahead and say, what can we create new? And we know that if we do something new, what was old will atrophy from disuse. If you don't use a muscle, and it atrophies from disuse. So if we just focus a little more on what is the new that we create, and I'm very excited with you, Julie. I think we're on the right track here, and I think this is the way. When we create a meeting like this, where we are examples of co-creating our genius together. Each person here brings something. The problem, the really issue is, what's the next step? How do you get people to replicate this process where people come together, share their genius? There aren't too many groups like this. I think we need 1 million groups like this. So that's the question. How do we get enough people to wake up and try something a little different, which is a little adventurous? It takes a lot to come to a meeting like this and speak up. But in an arena where there's safety, people will do that. If you do that outside, you see what happens in our politics. If you're not red or blue, you get cannibalized just for trying to come into the middle. So thank you.
May I add something super quick? This can be our mission. Let everybody find a field buddy. Everybody find a person, or try to find a person who's on that edge of evolution, who wants to participate, and see if they'll come in for next week. Get a field buddy. That'll double us from 20 to 40 right there. Then if every person that comes in gets somebody else, that's all I wanted to share. The field was calling. A field buddy.
Thank you, Susan. Let's just pause. Anyone else want to unmute again and share before John resets the tone with some resonance?
I think I just want to share that the beauty of aligning with the unified field of all possibilities, or coming into resonance or accordance with divine, essentially what is this? It's divine law. It's just the way it works when we revel and are in reverence for the larger story, the true story. But the beauty for me is the level of reciprocity that happens in ways that, it's like we're always, when we are co-creating with that divine intelligence, it is always, its innate essence is that it creates wholeness. It naturally creates whole systems health. You know that story of you bring back the wolves to an area and all of a sudden the rivers are running clean and pure and beautiful. How does that happen? Or we were just talking about the wolves, So for me, that's the remembering part, is the exquisiteness of that nature's design, that when we are co-creating with nature itself, or that divine intelligence, and, we're cleaning up the language, so to speak, to make it easier to understand, this is the natural response. And so that restoration, it's almost that we don't have to spend so much time thinking about what, the future. It's like just being fully present in the experience of what's been described here all, for the past hour. The reciprocity is phenomenal, and it's more than reciprocity. It brings back unto itself into that next spiral of evolution. So I just wanted to just place that in the field, because I think it's an important part of being willing to sit in that. I'm hearing Henry's not here, but really sit in that liminal space together, sit in that pause, because it's within that space that information comes for that next full circle. So I'm really grateful to be here, and thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'm going to gently invite John to officially be the host of the Resonance Lounge as we gently transition from our community coherence call into the Resonance Lounge. Thanking you all so much for joining us today and adding your voices and your energy into this important conversation. The dialogue will continue, and we will just reset the resonance and continue on. So John.
You need to shut off the recording, Julie, or if I make John the host,